Mounders are coming off a 65-58 win over the Altoona Railroaders also on Tuesday. Now in tonight's edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the Elk Mound Mounders and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Coach Noel's perspective on tonight's game in Coach's Corner. Following that, we'll take a look at where things stand in the Dunn St. Croix Conference as the conference resumes play. Then our broadcast crew will bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game. So it's time to get ready for some exciting high school boys basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 and Viking TV.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready!
We don't have time for spills.
Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame, where we're getting ready to bring you all the action of tonight's Dunn St. Croix Conference clash between the Elk Mound Mounders and the Colfax Vikings. The 4-7 Vikings, who are 1-2 in the Dunn St. Croix, are hoping to head into the 2024 portion of their conference schedule with a bounce-back win following their 68-55 loss to the Turtle Lake Lakers on Tuesday. The 8-1 Mounders are hoping to keep the pressure on the Dunn St. Croix leading Durand, Arkansas Panthers and Spring Valley Cardinals. Now, in the Vikings' loss to the Turtle Lake Lakers, the Vikings were led in scoring by 5'9" senior Elijah Ensminger, who went 8 for 17 from the floor for 16 points. He was followed by 5'11" junior Aiden Fisher, who hit on 4 of 17 field goals, including 3 three-pointers, and went 2 for 2 from the free throw line for 13 points. Blake Johnson also contributed by adding another 8 points. On the boards, the Vikings were led by Ensminger and Fisher, who grabbed 7 and 6 rebounds respectively. The Mounders are currently 3-1 in the Dunn St. Croix Conference, only a half a game behind conference leading Durand, Arkansas and Spring Valley. Now, leading the way for the Mounders in scoring this season is 6'6" senior Sam Wenzel, who's shooting 48% from the floor, including hitting on 2/3 of his shots from three-point land, as well as 69% from the free throw line, while averaging nearly 15 points per game. He's followed by 6'4" senior Caden Russo, who's shooting 43% from the floor, including 40% from beyond the three-point arc, and hitting on 80% of his free throws while scoring 13.5 points per game. In addition, Grant Mueller and Logan Jerome are adding nearly 9 points per game each. On the boards, Elk Mound is being led by Wenzel, who pulls down an average of nearly 7 rebounds per game, while Jerome and Mueller grab nearly 5 rebounds each. Now, thus far this season, the Vikings are being led in scoring by Ensminger, who's averaging nearly 17 points per game. Aiden Fisher is also scoring in double digits with an average of nearly 14.5 points per game. Mason Yarrington and Eli Ralph are also contributing 6 points per game each. Leading the way rebounding for the Vikings are Ralph and Fisher, who are grabbing 5.5 boards per game each, with Orion Nichols pulling down another 4.5. Now, coming up next, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective as we chat with Viking head coach Mark Noel on Coach's Corner. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Your family is your legacy. Planning for a natural disaster will make sure you're all safe. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today.
time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, what they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Once again on Coach's Corner, we're talking with Viking boys head coach Martin Knoll. And coach, back on Tuesday, Vikings dropped a 68-55 decision to the Turtle Lake Lakers. What can you tell us about that game?
Well, I would say a few things. Number one, we started off really slow and dug ourselves a 15-point deficit at halftime. In the second half, we got reorganized and re-energized and played with more energy, and we're way more competitive. And we, made up 2 points in the deficit in the second half to lose by 13. And I think part of that slow start was just having no games over a 10-day Christmas break. I think that kind of hurt us a little bit. And they had 2 games, they had just played, so they were on top of their intensity level. And Turtle Lake's a good team. They're now 7-2, and they're a solid team. I just felt like that was a game we maybe coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Okay, now I know that in the postgame comments that you had with Jay, you kind of thought maybe it was due to a few too many Christmas cookies and not a chance to work them off or something. And that's kind of what you just mentioned. So maybe the Vikings did accumulate a little bit of holiday rust in that 10-day break. In the future, do you think it would be a benefit for the Vikings to pick up a game or two during the holidays?
We cannot play over Christmas break. That's kind of our school district rule. So that does not allow us to do that. So what we do is, in the meantime, is try to bring in some alumni and scrimmage them, but it's still not a game-like situation. So I'm going to try to make it as game-like as I can in the future to get the clocks out and keep the score or something. I don't know, whatever we can do legally. I'll have to look into the rules of all that stuff, but we'll look into what we can do.
Well, tonight, the Vikings are going to open the 2024 portion of their conference schedule by facing a longtime rival, Elk Mound Mounders. What can you tell us about the Mounders?
They're coming in with a really good team. They're 9-1, I believe. They've got a lot of experienced kids that have been playing for, all like a bunch of kids that have been playing for 3 and 4 years. They have the conference MVP on their team with Wenzel. And Russo was a nominee 2 years ago when he was a sophomore. And I think the Jerome kid is a much improved kid from last year to this year. And then the Knutson kid's been playing for a long time too. They can shoot a lot of threes. So they have 4 really good players, and they have a lot of other guys that come off the bench that are kind of their role guys that fit in what they want them to do. And they play a stifling 1-3-1 defense, and we've got to be able to handle that pressure.
Now, the Mounders, you mentioned Caden Russo. He is now the all-time leading scorer in Elk Mound history and is closing in on 1,200 points in his high school career. What can you tell us about the skills that he brings to the game and the Vikings' plans to keep him in check? I mean, he's going to score points, but how do you keep him in check?
Well, what you have to do is you cannot allow him to have any wide open shots. If he makes a shot with you contesting it, more power to him. You just cannot lose him. You cannot leave him. And you can't, we can't just let him have wide open shots, because when he gets wide open shots, he's probably shooting 60% from wide open shots, where on contested shots, he's probably shooting closer to 30%. So we've got to make sure we contest every single shot.
Well, Coach Knoll, good luck on tonight's game. This is one people are going to really enjoy, and hopefully the Vikings will get back into conference play on a winning note.
Thank you very much. Go Vikings.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, where they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame. Tonight, the Vikings return to Dunn St. Croix Conference action as they face the Elk Mound Mounders. As the conference resumes action, other conference games this evening include the Glenwood City Hilltoppers traveling to Durand to face the Durand, Arkansas Panthers, while the Spring Valley Cardinals host the Mondovi Buffaloes. Then we find the Elmwood Plum City Wolves facing off against the Boyceville Bulldogs in Boyceville. As the conference gets back into conference play following the holidays, the Dunn St. Croix Conference standings are as follows. Tied for first place with 3-0 records are the Durand, Arkansas Panthers and the Spring Valley Cardinals. In third place at 3-1 and just a half a game behind is the Elk Mound Mounders. Now in fourth place are the Glenwood City Hilltoppers with a 2-1 record and 1 game back. At 1-2 and tied for fifth place, 2 games behind the leaders, are the Colfax Vikings along with the Mondovi Buffaloes. In seventh place at 0-3 and 3 games out are the Elmwood Plum City Wolves, and in 8th place at 0-4 are the Boyceville Bulldogs. Now tonight the Vikings will be able to demonstrate whether or not they have shaken off the rust from the holidays, and they'll need to do so as they face their rival in the Elk Mound Mounders. So far this year, the Mounders are averaging 56 points per game while giving up 38. On the other hand, the Vikings are averaging 55 points while giving up 55. So the stage is set for some exciting boys high school basketball, and we'll have all the action for you right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Now in just a moment we'll send it out to our broadcast crew at Colfax High School as we'll bring you all the action of tonight's game between the Colfax Vikings and the Elk Mound Mounders. That's all coming up next. You've been tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
You've been tuned to Viking Pregame with a look at today's Colfax Viking Boys game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Stay tuned, coming up next is live Colfax Viking basketball. It happens to everyone eventually. Your computer goes on the fritz. Fear not, Sladen's Technology Services can help. When your computer decides to not cooperate, it can be very frustrating. Let Sladen's Technology Services keep you from wanting to drive your computer right off a cliff. Sladen's Technology Services supports business of all sizes. They offer assistance with managed anti-malware, encrypted email, fast tech support, data backup, and recovery, and more. Call Sladen's Technology Services at 715-864-2833 and get the IT help you desire. Sladen's Technology Services is the official IT service for the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
In November of 2018, our daughter Jana passed away. The outpouring of support was unbelievable. Support that we received inspired us to start a foundation called the Jana Kelly Memorial Foundation. And through that foundation,
we've given back in a lot of different ways, through projects, through different other charities that we've supported. We like to help Humane Association, and the Ronald McDonald House is something that's very near and dear to us. We've also recently, this last year, we actually built a tiny house. It's really exciting to be able to give back in different ways.
To learn more or to help financially, find us on Facebook or www.janakelly.com.
Colfax Viking Boys Basketball is on the air.
He'll pass it out to Blake Johnson. He'll take the shot for 3, Vikings.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network, along with NLWN2, is excited to bring you Colfax High School Boys Basketball.
Swinger down inside to Hoffman. He'll drive the right side of the lane, pop it up from 6. Good.
Join us as we follow the Vikings while they battle their way through the Dunn St. Croix Conference.
Charlo out to Ensminger for 3, he hits it!
And now out to the gym for today's Colfax Viking basketball.
Good evening. Welcome to Colfax High School for a neighborhood rivalry in the Dun St. Croix Conference. The Elk Mound Mounders are here, ready to face the Colfax Vikings. The Mounders coming into this game with one loss. Their only loss was 48-30 to Durand, Arkansas. That happened to also be one of Colfax's losses by a margin of 55-32. I'm Jay Fall, here with our camera operator Chris Olson, Dan Petraw on color, and our executive producer Rick Olson. Tonight's Colfax Viking Boys Basketball game is brought to you by the Colfax Animal Hospital at Doctors Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their friendly staff take care of your pet. C&K Construction, your concrete experts for the Chippewa Valley. Derry State Bank, where they're banking on relationships. Midwest Environmental Consultants, soil testers for Western Wisconsin. Anderson Bridges, who have been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. Slayton's Technology, IT provider for the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Menominee Eye and Optical with quality personalized care for you and your family. And Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax. Comfort food the way Mom used to make it. Be sure to thank these fine sponsors for bringing you Colfax Viking Boys Basketball by doing business with them soon. We'll be back with more pregame conversation after this. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Derry State Bank encourages you to save smarter for your retirement by maximizing possible tax advantages. We offer traditional, Roth, and rollover IRAs with a wide variety of investment options. It's not too late to invest up to $6,500 of possible tax-deferred earnings into an IRA for 2023 tax purposes, or $7,500 if you're 50 or better. Call or stop by for more information. Derry State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Are your animals feeling a little under the weather? Give the nice folks at Colfax Animal Hospital a call. Austin and Nikki Pritchard are just what the doctor ordered. In fact, they are the doctors and they're ready to help. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Give them a call at 715-962-3380.
Elk Mound Mounders come in here third in the Dun St. Croix with a record of 3-1. They are 8-1 in the season. And Dan Petraw, one of the comments that you made right out of the gate, they're big.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one thing that Colfax defense is going to have to work on tonight is making sure they cover those big guys inside. They're going to have to probably double team, triple team. But that creates a problem because Elk Mound shoots a mean outside three-pointer too, so they're going to have to sit down, try to block that off, but then they're going to have to get back out and play defense on the perimeter to keep those threes away.
Yeah, the starting group 6'6", 6'5", 6'4", then dips to 5'11", and then 5'8". So lots of height.
Yeah, I think Eli Ralph and we'll probably see quite a bit of Logan Schwartz tonight too. And they'll have to make sure they cover the paint. And they're probably going to have to give up some threes eventually, but, they always say that the percentage of shooting threes is less than doing layups. So we'll see if they can, the defense can handle that.
In the JV game tonight, the Mounders beat the Colfax Vikings by a score of 67-37. Other Dun St. Croix matchups tonight. Glenwood City with a 2-1 conference record is at the undefeated Durand, Arkansas Panthers in Durand. Mondovi 1-2 in the conference is at undefeated Spring Valley with a 3-0 mark tonight. And a winless Plum City Elmwood at 0-3 in the conference will face winless Boyceville at Boyceville 0-4 in the league. So some good matchups tonight, and hopefully this one will be too here as a big rivalry game, one of two, because we'll go to Elk Mound later in the season to even it up here in the Dun St. Croix Conference. So
always a packed house here.
Yeah, yep. And there's another good crowd on hand here once again tonight as both teams are getting over to the sidelines, and we will turn it over here in a little bit to the courtside announcer for the national anthem as well as the introduction of the starting lineups, and we'll fill in any gaps before we get going here. Colfax Viking Boys Basketball facing the Elk Mound Mounders.
As the national anthem is played. Welcome to Colfax High School for tonight's Young St. Croix boys basketball matchup between the Elk Mound Mounders and your Colfax Vikings. Introducing the starters for the Mounders. Number 1, a senior, Hayden Russo.
6'4" senior.
Number 2, senior, Brady.
5'8" senior.
6'5"
junior. 5'11" junior. 6'6" senior.
And now the starting lineup for your Colfax Vikings. At guard, 6' junior number 4, Aiden Fisher.
5'11" junior.
5'9" number 10,
And we're ready to get underway here in Colfax. As you look on, Vikings in home white. They'll be moving left to right. Elk Mound, black and orange, moving the other way, of course, right to left. Sam Wenzel going up against Eli Ralph. Ball in the air. Here we go. It's taken by the Vikings. And that is Johnson. Johnson to Ensminger on top. Down underneath, they find Aiden Fisher. And takes a shot. It bounces out big. Or no, that's good. 2-0 Colfax. Ball gets loose. Last touched by Colfax. Elijah Ensminger trying to get that ball. Brady Amble ended up on the floor. Inbound throw goes into Logan Jerome. Jerome across the timeline on the right side, fires it to Amble. Back to Russo, fires down in the corner, now back in the middle to Amble. Down underneath they go to Sam Wenzel. Wenzel out to Russo. And down underneath, the ball game is even as we have a bucket by Sam Wenzel of the Mounders. 17:08 remaining, first half. We are tied at 2. Colfax and Elk Mound. Bounce pass to Ensminger. Back to Johnson. Johnson up high in the left wing. Fires it down a bit to Fisher. Then back out on top to Blake Johnson. 3-ball, good. Well, they're only going to give him 2. He was on the line. 4-2 Colfax. Ensminger, full court press on Amble. He lets it go to Russo. Back to Amble between the center circle and the key. Amble backs off a little bit, looks underneath. Man-to-man, ball got loose. Was it tapped by Elk Mound? It was, going to Colfax. 16:23 remaining first half. It's 5-2 Colfax leading Elk Mound. Johnson out to Ensminger, back to Johnson in the middle. Still in the backcourt, he'll drive around, fires it down in the corner to Fisher. Fisher back out to Ensminger near the free throw line. And Fisher will take it for 3. 8-2 Vikings. Amble being guarded closely by Ensminger. Gets a bounce pass off to Knutson. Into Wenzel. He's on the left side of the lane. Drives. Makes a second effort. That one rolls out. No good. Tip to Ensminger. And he'll take it down to the other end. And we're going to have a player control foul called on Ensminger. First foul of the game. First foul for Colfax. 15:39 left first half. Colfax 8, Elk Mound 2. Jerome tosses it in. Full court pressure by the Vikings. He'll toss it into Amble. Amble has Ensminger following him. Give him go out to Russo. To Jerome. And then right wing to Amble. Russo comes to help him out. Then Jerome goes down underneath to Wenzel. Back outside to Jerome. He has to go in. Fires it out to Brady Amble. And he hits the three-pointer. It's 8-5 Colfax leading Elk Mound, approaching 15 minutes remaining in the first half. Colfax with a narrow lead. It's Fisher out to Ensminger, and they'll have an over and back violation. Ball going out in front of the Colfax bench to the Mounders. Into the backcourt to Brady Amble. Amble to Knutson on the sidelines. Back at the top of the key to Jerome. Into Amble. And Amble down underneath. Had his foot on the end line. Another turnover to the Vikings. 14:40 left first half. It's Colfax 8, Elk Mound 5. Pass up the floor quickly to Fisher down in the corner, back out in the corner. 3-ball for Yerington, missed. Reload up underneath, good for Aiden Fisher. Colfax leading Elk Mound 10-5, 14:15 remaining. First half. Russo drives in off the backboard, doesn't go, rebounded by Blake Johnson for Colfax. Johnson doubled up on the floor, gives it to Yerington, bounces it on the baseline to Ralph. Back out on top to Ensminger, left open from the corner, Fisher! 3 more, 13-5 Colfax.
10 points.
And left the net hanging on the rim.
Yeah, that's 10
Official takes
points.
care of that. And we'll get things going again here. 13:40 left, first half. Colfax 13, Elk Mound 5. Now we're going to have officials discussion here. Aiden Fisher's leading the scoring for the Vikings so far with 10. Blake Johnson's got the other 3. Elk Mound scorers are Brady Amble with 3 and Sam Wenzel with 2 for their 5. So now going over to the scores table. Oh, there we go. They're adjusting the clock. 13:56 now remains first half. Inbounds throw goes to Amble. He's being guarded by Ansminger. Amble gets his quickness, gets ahead of him. Into the front court. He'll bounce it over to Jerome. Jerome into Amble. Amble gets the pass from Wenzel. Amble out to Jerome halfway down far side. Elk Mound looking to be patient. And ball stolen away. Ansminger blocks the pass and the ball gets loose. It's going off the Mounders. Cale Knutson. Colfax will keep it. 13:22 remaining in the first half. It's Colfax 13, Elk Mound 5. Johnson to throw it in. Alley-oops it into Ensminger. Goes behind the half-court line this time because he can. Bounces it back to Johnson. Ball gets loose, but Ensminger trying to save it just before it goes out of bounds. Gets it back to Blake Johnson. Back to Ensminger. Ensminger up from 10. Rolls off the back iron. Rebound by Aiden Fisher. Good! Aiden Fisher having a night. 12 points so far. And timeout on the floor. 12:56 remaining first half. It's Colfax 15, Elk Mound 5. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN 2, and Viking TV.
When you have that craving for a home-cooked meal the way Mom used to make it, rest assured, you can still get that meal by going to Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax. Mom's is open daily serving breakfast and lunch, and don't forget dinner on Friday nights with Mom's famous fish fry. The coffee is always hot, the breakfast is always delicious, and lunch will put a smile on your face and in your stomach. 225 Bremer Avenue, Colfax. Call 715-962-4617. That's Mom's Restaurant and Pub.
Welcome back to Colfax. The Vikings lead the Elk Mound Mounders by 10 with 12:56 to go in the first half.
Yeah, Fisher already has 12 of the 15 for Colfax.
Out of the backcourt now, Caleb Besko into the ball game. Besko out on top, passes it to Russo. Besko gets it back, looks, bounces it over to no one, and Elk Mound, or Colfax, lets it go out of bounds off the Mounders. Colfax gets it back on another turnover. So far, this has been an uncharacteristic Elk Mound performance. Lots of turnovers. The Vikings are doing an excellent job on the boards and getting those other shots. Now Yarrington takes one from 3. That one bounces out, but it gets to Ensminger. Ensminger at the top of the key will fire it off to Johnson. Johnson to Ralph. Goes back to Johnson. He'll go around the far side, drive in, bounce it in to Ralph. Stolen away. Down in the near corner to Jerome. Jerome going in and runs into a still Eli Ralph.
First foul on Ralph, second team foul for Colfax.
Inbounds throw for the Mounders. Goes in and it's stolen by Aiden Fisher. Ensminger stops, goes up from 6, rolls off the rim. No, gets back to Yarrington. Vikings keep it. It's Fisher over to Yarrington. Yarrington tried to tip it somewhere and ended up going out of bounds. So Elk Mound gets it back. 11:35 to go in the first half. Colfax leading Elk Mound by 10. Amble across the timeline, gets it to Grant Mueller. Ball gets loose, and he skillfully or luckily bounced it off the feet of one of the Vikings.
Elk Mound's still
so the Mounders get to keep it.
Elk Mound's still trying to work inside to Wenzel.
Logan Jerome tosses it in the corner to Mueller. Back inside to Wenzel. Back to Mueller. Mueller pops it up from 7, hits it. First points for the Mounders in a while. 15-7 Colfax, 11:08 to go in the first half. It's Ensminger and Fisher bringing it out of the backcourt. Crosses the 10-second line, fires it down underneath. Back in the corner, then out to Ensminger for 3. Bounces off the iron big and trying to get it to was Schwartz. Now Elk Mound, Amble, Wenzel in the corner of the lane. We'll flip it out to Mueller. Mueller drives in, pops it up from 10, bounces out, rebounded by Ensminger for Colfax. Ensminger across the timeline, gets it to Fisher. Fisher gets to the top of the free throw circle. Out to Yarrington. Yarrington back to Ensminger. Over to Fisher. Left side. He'll take a look and fire it back to Fisher. Ball goes out of bounds. It goes out of bounds off Elk Mound's Caden Russo. Colfax gets it right smack dab in the middle of the Elk Mound bench. 10:13 remaining first half. It's Colfax 15, Elk Mound 7. Johnson out to Ensminger. Ensminger back to Yarrington at a jump high for it to Fisher back out on top. Ensminger drives in up from the free throw line. Good! 17-7. Colfax leading Elk Mound by 10. 9:48 remaining in the first half. 3-point shot attempt by Grant Mueller goes in and clears it. Colfax 17, Elk Mound 10. Fired in the middle to Schwartz. Schwartz back outside and pulling up and taking a shot for 3. Miss. Schwartz can't get the rebound, pulled down by Sam Wenzel of the Mounders. Wenzel out to Amble. Out to Grant Mueller. To Wenzel, turnaround jumper, missed. Rebounded by Ensminger. Out to Fisher. Fisher looking down in the corner. Out to Yarrington. He'll dribble around the arch, take a look, and he'll fire it back to Fisher. Fisher out to Johnson. Back to Fisher. Johnson for 3. Bounces off big. Mounders come up with the ball. It's Brady Amble. He'll bring it up the floor. Amble out to Knudsen. Back out to Amble in the other corner.
Mismatch down low with that. Yarrington and Mueller.
Russo falling down, gets a pass to Wenzel. Wenzel's fouled on the way in. That foul's going to go against Blake Johnson of the Vikings. That is his first, Colfax's third foul. Elk Mound does not have any fouls yet. On the free throw line for the Mounders is number 5, Sam Wenzel, and he misses free throw 1. Second one skyward. That one doesn't go either. And the Vikings get the ball back. Johnson to Ensminger out on the top left wing. Halfway down to Fisher. Fisher doubled up onto Ensminger. Out to Theo Hubdy now in the game for the Vikings. Fired back to Johnson. He's doubled up on. Bounces it to Hovde out on top. Hovde to Ansminger. Free throw line right. Hovde between the circles. Well, that's something you don't see very often. The ball kind of trapped like a soccer ball there by Cale Knutson.
Yeah, Colfax having a hard time getting it inside right now. They're small.
Johnson throws it into Ensminger. He'll look at one. Fire it back to Johnson to set things up. Johnson around to Hovde.
Elk Mound goes zone.
Back to Ensminger. Ensminger to Fisher. Fisher drives in, pops it up from 10. Good! Aiden Fisher, 14 of Elk Mound's Colfax's 19 points. Elk Mound with 10. We're going to have a foul called on Theo Hovde of the Vikings. 7:12 left first half. Colfax leading Elk Mound by 9. Throw in goes to Caleb Besko. Out to Lucas Johnson for Elk Mound. All the way in the other corner to Logan Jerome. And back out on the wing to Brody Niven. And now a three-point shot missed, going right into the hands of Blake Johnson. Up the floor to Ensminger, back to Johnson. Johnson and Ensminger playing catch with it over on the far side. Goes down underneath, open is Ralph, and he a little too far under. And we're going to have a jump ball. It is possession, Elk Mound. Jay Fall, Dan Petchow, Chris Olson, and Rick Olson here from Colfax High School, where the host Vikings lead the Elk Mound Mounders 19-10. 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. Driving in is Russo. Russo into Jerome, having some handling issues. Now Jerome takes the shot for 3. That was actually Wenzel that passed it to Jerome. Anyway, that's 3 for the Mounders, and they close the gap. Colfax 19, Elk Mound 13. Up the floor to Ralph, and the pass is stolen away by Caleb Besko. Up the floor it goes to Russo. Russo shot rolls off, and he gets bumped around in there a little bit. And I think he's going to the free throw line.
Foul's going to be on Eli Ralph for Colfax.
So Caden Russo is going to shoot, and there's a timeout on the floor. 6:01 remaining first half. Colfax 19, Elk Mound 13. You're watching Colfax Viking Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
If your estate isn't looking quite estate-like, let Midwest Environmental Consultants landscape your estate right up to snuff with installation of retaining walls, brick patios, foundation planting beds, and so much more. Then they'll keep it that way with their expert lawn care service. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants help make your estate the showplace of the neighborhood.
Join NLWN TV and the Northern Light Webcasting Network tomorrow afternoon as the Viking girls will travel to Blair Taylor High School to take on the Wildcats in a non-conference tilt. Live coverage will begin with Viking pregame beginning at 2 o'clock. That'll be followed by all the live play-by-play action. That's Colfax girls basketball tomorrow afternoon on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Caden Russo's first free throw rolls off. Colfax up by 6 over the Mounders. Second one is good. It's now a 5-point ball game, and the Vikings will bring it up the floor. That's Johnson doubled up on, and he throws a pass right to the Elk Mound coach, who skillfully grabs that with one hand. His team gets it back, 5:52 left first half. 19-14, Colfax leading Elk Mound. Besko to Russo, give and go. Now they dump it down underneath on the right side. Trying to make a move and around the rim and out. Wenzel. It'll be reloaded by Besko, and Besko's foul on the way out.
That's 3 quick fouls on Eli Ralph. Logan Schwartz will have to come in.
Got himself in foul trouble here pretty quick. 5:34 to go in the first, and the first free throw missed. Caleb Besko rolls around and out.
Yeah, they're 1 for 5 from the line tonight. Elk Mound is.
Second one good. It's now a 4-point lead for the Colfax Vikings, 19-15 over Elk Mound. Ensminger gets it to Schwartz. Now the alley-oop it deep in the far corner to Fisher. And it's knocked out of bounds by Elk Mound. Theo Hubdy's going to throw it in. At the end of the Elk Mound bench, all the way into the backcourt to Ensminger. They'll set it up. Ensminger to Hubdy, back out to Ensminger. Drive it in, Hubdy. Ensminger comes out with it to Yarrington, free throw line right.
Elk Mound in zone.
Back to Ensminger, and we will have Elk Mound's first foul. A reach by Cale Knudsen, number 4. Alley-ooped in to Ensminger. Back to Hubdy. Yarrington halfway down on the far sideline. Back to Hubdy. To Yarrington down underneath. Ensminger from the baseline. Good for 2.
4 points for Ensminger.
21-15 Colfax. Driving in for the Mounders, Caden Russo. Russo to Wenzel. Wenzel. Fall-away jumper is good. 3-point gap now, 4-point gap, sorry. Down in the far corner to Yarrington. Back out to Theo Hubdy. 4:03 to go, first half. Colfax 21, Elk Mound 17. Inbounds, throw to Emble. To Russo. Off to his near side to Knudsen. 3 guys over there to get the ball for the Mounders. Back at the top of the key to Emble. Down underneath to Knudsen. Back out to Emble. Emble for 3. Bounces off big, and getting there for the rebound is Logan Schwartz for the Vikings as Emble dribbles it on the sideline.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed here in the last 3 games is Logan Schwartz is really starting to come on for Colfax. He's starting to understand where he's supposed to be and helping the team out now.
Schwartz out to Ensminger to Johnson. Looks at one, goes out for Fisher. Fisher to Ensminger, 10-footer, good! 23-17 Colfax, 3:20 left to go, first half. Oh, and we had Brady Emble powering his way up the court. And Aiden Fisher is called for the foul. Elk Mound is now in the bonus. That's the 7th foul. So it's 1+1 for Brady Emble. And it bangs around and down. Stay tuned. Our Viking profile at halftime is Grant Palowitz tonight. And the second free throw good as well. Back to a 4-point Colfax lead, 23-19 over Elk Mound. Ensminger out to Johnson. Back to Ensminger. Back to Johnson. Johnson flips it to Fisher. Back to Johnson over on the far side. Over to Mason Yarrington. And we'll have a kicking violation. Colfax is going to keep it. One off the leg of Trey Larson. 2:49 left first half. Colfax 23. Elk Mound 19. Boys basketball. And they roll. Somehow Elk Mound rolled that along the sideline. And he's going to be called for traveling. Logan Jerome took about 3 steps before he tried to stuff it. So the Vikings, Blake Johnson across the timeline, bounces it off the foot of Logan Jerome. After that last one, Jerome did have a foot on the floor there. Fisher into Johnson. Back to Fisher to Yarrington, slips through his hands, out of bounds. Turned over to the Mounders. 2:22 left first half. Colfax 23, Elk Mound 19. Brady Amble up high on the right side. Amble gets it back from Grant Mueller now in the ball game. Out to Russo. Russo being guarded by Johnson. Goes over the top of him. And with 2 minutes to go, Colfax's lead cut to 2. 23-21, Elk Mound. And that's kicked off the foot of Logan Jerome. So Elijah Ensminger is going to throw it in with 1:53 to go first half. Colfax with a narrow lead, 23-21 over Elk Mound. Hubdy back down in the corner to Fisher. Fisher's going to try to drive in, out to Hubdy. Hubdy for 3, catches a side iron, tip back to Schwartz. And he's fouled underneath. Nope, check that. That was Aiden. Yeah, that was Schwartz. But not a shooting foul, and only Elk Mound second, so it's going out underneath the Colfax basket. Hubdy's going to toss it in out to Ensminger. Looks at one, pops it up from the free throw line. Good. Colfax back up by 4, under a minute and a half to go. Brady Amble across the timeline. Ensminger guarding him close. He bowls it to Sam Wenzel. Wenzel goes up off the glass and good. Colfax 25, Elk Mound 23, 1:12 to go in the first half. Out to Yarrington, 3 ball, rolls out, rebounded by Fisher. Fisher goes up, that one doesn't go, rebounded by Grant Mueller. Mueller goes to Amble, quickly up the floor to Jerome. Jerome will drive in, fall away, 10-footer, missed, rebounded by Hubdy. Ensminger across the timeline, 48 seconds left. Ensminger and Hubdy back and forth on top. And we're going to have a foul called on Elk Mound's Grant Mueller. That's the 3rd foul for Elk Mound in the half. 40.8 seconds remain in the first half of the contest. Kale Knutson now coming in for Caden Russo for the Mounders. Yarrington in to Ensminger, over to Hubdy. Back down to Fisher. Fisher somehow got that ball to go off of the Mounders' Brady Amble. Colfax will keep it on their end. 36 seconds to go in the first half. Out on top to Yarrington. Yarrington out to Fisher. Fisher doubled up on, out to Ensminger. Ensminger driving along the right side, makes a move, and he's fouled on the way in. 23.1 seconds remain in the first half. And Elijah Ensminger's going to be on the free throw line. That is the first foul for Sam Wenzel. And the fourth for Elk Mound in the half. Ensminger's first free throw is good. 26-23, Colfax leading Elk Mound, 9 points for Elijah Ensminger. Colfax the scoring leader. Aiden Fisher with 14. Second one good as well. Colfax back to a 4-point lead, 27-23. Driving in for Elk Mound, Cale Knutson. Knutson across the center jump circle, drives, fires over to Russo, down underneath, and a nice jumper by Sam Wenzel. Pulls the Mounders to within 2. And Hovde takes a shot on the buzzer, catches the back iron. And a good half of basketball for the Colfax Vikings. Colfax 27, Elk Mound 25. We invite you to stay tuned now for halftime programming featuring Grant Palowitz with a Viking profile. Halftime score 27-25 Colfax. You're watching Colfax Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Anderson Bridges, located in Colfax, Wisconsin, has been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. With hundreds of bridges supplied nationwide, we suspect you've crossed our path. It may have been on a pedestrian or bicycle bridge, or how about a snowmobile, ATV, or golf course bridge? Anderson Bridges is likely to have manufactured it. Founded in 1989, Anderson Bridges has been a family-owned company since its beginning and are proud to support the Colfax Vikings.
Time now for Viking Halftime, with today's Viking profile and other halftime entertainment. That's coming up right after this.
Hey, boss. Okay?
I said I'm fine.
Me the babe, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to get to know Grant Palowitz, who's a sophomore here at Colfax High School. And Grant, we know that you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities here at school?
I play baseball.
You play baseball, okay. A little warmer weather when that comes around, isn't it? Yeah. So when did you start playing basketball, and what kind of an experience has that been for you?
I played in elementary school, not sure when I quit, and then I joined back in 6th grade and haven't stopped playing since then. And it's been a lot up and down.
Okay, all right. So what's the most important thing that you've learned playing basketball?
Just keep your head up.
Keep your head up. Keep driving forward, and there you go. So when you're not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that keep you interested or occupied?
I like to hunt. I ride my four-wheeler. That's about it.
Okay, a few rapid-fire questions for you here. Pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies?
Ice cream.
How about burger, brat, hot dogs?
Burger.
What do you want on that burger?
Ketchup, mustard, pickle.
Okay, that's pretty basic burger, but yeah, go for it. Favorite color?
Blue.
Any reason for that?
No.
Just like blue. All right. If you could have a superpower, what do you think that might be?
Flying.
And is there a reason that you'd like to be able to fly?
To get places faster.
Okay. Now, if you have that ability to fly, you have to have a superhero name to go with it. So what's Grant's superhero name?
I don't know. Captain Grant.
Captain Grant, all right. Favorite NBA team?
The Bucks.
Favorite college team?
Wisconsin.
All right, now is there a basketball player at any level of the game who's influenced the way you play your game?
No, I wouldn't say that, no.
No, you just play it, you follow your coaches, and do what you do. Okay. We're talking with Grant Palowitz today on Viking Profile. And Grant, what are your plans for after high school? And you're only a sophomore, so you've got plenty of time to change this.
Yeah, I'm most likely going to go to a technical school. I'm not sure. Depends on where my sports bring me.
All right, and any idea what you want to go into when you get to tech?
I want to be a heavy equipment operator.
Okay. All right, how about a shout out to the family?
Mom, dad, sisters, brother.
Okay, yeah, make that plural if it's plural. Okay. When people watch Viking games, where are they going to find you on the floor?
Guard.
Okay. We want to thank Grant Palowitz for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next, more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking, now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
You've been tuned to Viking Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up is second half action of today's game on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
About to begin the second half, 27-25. Colfax leading Elk Mound. A great start for the Vikings tonight. Dan, let's take a look at the numbers.
Yeah, here's the scores right now for Elk Mound. They have 5 boys in points. We have Russo with 3. We have Brady Amble with 5. We have Jerome with 3. We have Wenzel with 6. Mueller with 5. And Besco with 1. For the Vikings, they got two boys with points tonight. We got Aiden Fisher right now with 14 points, Ensminger with 10, and Blake Johnson with 2. 27-25 Elk Mound.
Join us on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2 this Thursday, January 11th, as the Viking boys will take on the Homewood Plum City Wolves in a Dunn St. Croix Conference matchup. Viking pregame begins at 6:40 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking Boys Basketball this Thursday, January 11th on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2. Jay Fald, Dan Petchow, Chris Olson, and Rick Olson with you. Colfax starts out with the ball here in the second half. In home white, they're going right to left now here in the second half, and the Mounders will be going the other way. They're in their road black and orange. And we start out with the ball between Ensminger and Johnson. Johnson over on the far side, doubled up on. He gets it out to Yarrington. Yarrington, 3-ball. Doesn't go. Rebounded by Sam Wenzel. Wenzel to Amble. Amble will bring it up. It's being guarded by Ensminger. Passes it back and forth to Knutson. Over to Russo. And 3-point ball. Cale Knutson doesn't go, and it's rebounded by Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger gets it back on the handoff from Johnson, and they double team Johnson near the center jump circle. 3-pointer by Fisher, rolls off, no good. Fisher trying to get the rebound, but Caden Russo grabbed it for the Mounders. Amble between the jump circle and the key. And 3-point shot goes all the way over, clears everything, rebounded by Russo. Elk Mound hangs on to it. Brady Amble to Russo. Down inside to Wenzel, and a pass stolen by Aiden Fisher. Fisher up to Yarrington. Yarrington, 2-pointer miss. Yarrington gets the rebound out to Ensminger. Ensminger drives in and left open. Schwartz with a layup on the left side. Colfax stretches their lead to 4. 16:35 left second half. Colfax 29, Elk Mound 25. Wenzel goes between 2 guys, and we are going to have a blocking foul. And that's going to go against Logan Schwartz. First foul of the second half. Back out on top to Russo. Stolen away by Ensminger. Ensminger clear shot to the basket. Layup is good. 31-25, Colfax by 6. 16:08 left second half. In the backcourt, Brady Amble for the Mounders. Guarded by Ensminger. Down in the corner to Knutson. Back around right side to Russo. Up on top, Amble. Amble down to Logan Jerome. He'll hold it high. And a 3-point shot, nails it. That's Brady Amble. Colfax's lead cut to 3 over Elk Mound, 31-28. And on the pass, ball dribbled on the sideline by Aiden Fisher. 15.5 minutes to go in the ball game, 31-28. Colfax out in front of Elk Mound. Mounders with the ball. Amble crossing the 10-second line. Amble to Russo. Down underneath. Wenzel puts in the basket. And now the Vikings with the slimmest of margins. And we're going to have a traveling call on Blake Johnson. And we have a timeout on the floor. 15-10 remaining second half. Colfax 31, Elk Mound 30. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
C&K Construction is your source for high-quality concrete and construction work in the Chippewa Valley. Established in 2014, C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls is a leading concrete contractor proud to serve Eau Claire, Altoona, Menominee, and surrounding areas. Specializing in concrete construction, excavating, flatwork poured walls, and much more, they're right for all of your concrete needs. Call C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls at 715-559-1335.
Are your pooch's proportions putting on pounds? Or is your kitty's constitution constantly complaining?
Well, stop by and see the friendly folks at the Colfax Animal Hospital. Doctors Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their staff will be happy to help you get your family friend back on the road to healthy living. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Call them at 715-962-3380.
15-10 left in tonight's game, 31-30. Elk Mound trailing Colfax by 1. Mounders with the ball, Amble. Amble out to Jerome, top of the key. And that pass gets back to Johnson. Johnson bounces it to Ensminger. Ensminger to Fisher. Fisher down in the corner to Johnson. Johnson trying to get rid of the ball, and we're going to have a foul called on the Mounders' Brady Amble. That's his second foul, the first foul of the half for the Mounders. Colfax leads by 1, 31-30 over the Mounders. Ensminger looked at throwing it to Yarrington. He's going to give it to Johnson. Johnson still trying to get rid of it. Fires over to Aiden Fisher. Fisher out to Yarrington from Ensminger. Yarrington to Johnson. Yarrington going outside, ball tipped. And it goes back to Ensminger. Down in the near corner, Yarrington. Rolls it off Elk Mound's Caden Russo. Colfax will set it up again. Approaching 14 minutes left in second half. Johnson to Yarrington to Ensminger. Ensminger from the free throw line, up in! Colfax 33, Elk Mound 30, 13:55 to go second half. Driving for the Mounders, Amble. Amble roll it to Russo. Russo goes up in the lane, puts the basket in, and it will be, looks like Blake, let's see who gets called for that one here. That is going to be against Aiden Fisher. That will send Caden Russo to the line. He scored the points, and he is going to have an opportunity to tie this one up. And he does. 33 all, 13:43 to go in the second half. And the pass goes to Eli Ralph. Out to Ensminger, three-pointer missed. Rebounded by Elk Mound's Russo. Russo out to Besko. To Knutson. Knutson goes up. Shot blocked by Yarrington. He manages to knock it over to Ensminger. Ensminger driving. Ends up on the floor. We're going to have a foul. Foul's going to be called on Caleb Besko of the Mounders. Blake Johnson will throw the ball in underneath the Colfax basket. Fires it out to Ensminger. Tipped around. Ensminger's going to, no. Elk Mound steals it. And we're going to have a foul called on Blake Johnson. That's Johnson's second foul. Mounders with the ball as we approach 13 minutes remaining in the second half. And we're knotted up at 33. Knutson at the free throw line, pass too high. Can't be brought in by Logan Jerome even though he's 6'5". Colfax gets the ball back. Inbounds throw to Johnson from Fisher. Still in the backcourt, Ensminger. Now Johnson drives it across, stops, gives it to, that'll be an over and back violation as Ensminger went in the backcourt to get it. Fisher's going to take a break. Logan Jerome's going to throw it in for the Mounders right in front of their bench. Tied at 33, 12:46 to go, second half. Besco to Russo, top of the key. Being guarded by Hovde. Fired across court to Jerome. Jerome for three. Around the wheel and in. And we are going to have looks like we're going to have a foul away from the ball. That's going to be charged to Sam Wenzel. Still, Elk Mound takes the lead 36-33.
Yeah, Colfax has to find somebody to step up right now and help out Ensminger. Fisher hasn't got the ball very much right now.
Ensminger to Hovde, out to Fisher for three. Tied again at 36. And stolen away by Ensminger. Layup good. Colfax takes the lead back at 38-36. Out of the backcourt, Besco. Besco out to Mueller. Mueller from Jerome down underneath on the baseline. We are going to have a foul.
Yeah, and that's
called on Eli Ralph.
That'll be his fourth. Which is kind of important because so they're not going to bring in Logan. They're going to bring in Orion Nichols to take Eli's spot.
Inbounds throw goes back into Russo, puts in a basket on the left side. We're tied at 38. 11:40 to go in the second half. Ensminger dumps it off to Hovde. Back to Ensminger from Yarrington. Ensminger tripled up onto Hovde, outside to Yarrington. Three-pointer rolls off. No good, and it was last touched by Colfax. Elk Mound gets it back. 38 all, 11:24 to go, second half. Inbounds throw into Amble. Ensminger guarding him for Colfax to Russo, and now we're going to have a foul away from the ball. That's going to be called on Elijah Ensminger.
Yeah, right now.
Nope, check that. Orion Nichols.
Yeah, Sam Wenzel's working inside. He's going to get double teamed right now.
Wenzel goes in. That one's going to be charged to Theo Hovde. It's his second foul. That is 6 already for Colfax here in the second half. Pass goes into Wenzel. Wenzel back out to Knutson from the corner, back over to Mueller. Knutson, three-point shot, nails it. Elk Mound leads 41-38, 10:55 to go in the second half. Hovde back and forth with Ensminger into Fisher. Fisher in the corner, out to Hovde. Hovde to Yarrington. Back to Hovde, they keep it out on top for now. Elk Mound's got things bottled up there. Back out to Yarrington, to Hovde. Back out to Fisher. Fisher drives up from 15, rolls off, no good. Rebounded by Cale Knutson. Mounders. Ball up high, Wenzel. And reaching for it was Orion Nichols. That is the 7th foul now of the half, and that puts the Mounders on the free throw line for the bonus.
Yeah, this is kind of a crucial portion of the game right here. Elk Mound takes the lead. They're going to have some easy shots coming up on the inside.
Wenzel makes the first. Join NLWN TV and the Northern Light Webcasting Network tomorrow afternoon as the Viking girls travel to Blair Taylor High School to take on the Wildcats in a non-conference tilt. Live coverage will begin with Viking pregame beginning at 2 p.m. That'll be followed by all the live play-by-play action. Colfax girls basketball tomorrow on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Second free throw miss. Ensminger going up in lots of traffic. Schwartz trying to put it back up there. And it ends up back in the hand of the Mounders, who lead by 4. And off the glass and in, Grant Mueller. Now to Yerington, and we have a timeout called by Colfax. 9:49 left, second half. Elk Mound 44, Colfax 38. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2 and Viking TV.
Menominee Eye and Optical help you see the world for the beautiful place it is. Doctors Nicholas and Marianne Comroe provide both comprehensive and emergency eye care for all, including pediatric and special needs patients. Whether it's examination for glasses to cataract and LASIK care, or diagnosis and management of macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and so much more. In addition, Menominee Eye and Optical's experienced opticians will help guide you to the highest quality eye care for the best value. That's Menominee Eye and Optical, located at 520 Wilson Avenue in Menominee, where they specialize in quality, personalized care for you and your family.
Welcome back. Second half. Colfax now trails Elk Mound 44-38. The Colfax Music Department will once again participate in the Dorian Vocal Music Festival. It runs this Sunday through Wednesday. Join us on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 this Thursday, January 11th, as the Viking boys will take on the Elmwood Plum City Wolves in an St. Croix matchup. Viking pregame begins at 6:40 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking boys basketball this Thursday, January 11th, on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Inbound throw goes in to Blake Johnson, back to Ensminger. Back to Ensminger to Johnson. Ensminger, Johnson back and forth on the right side. Back out to Johnson. Johnson dishes it down to Logan Schwartz. Puts up the shot, missed, rebounded by the Mounders, Logan Jerome. Dished off to Wenzel. Wenzel out to Jerome, or check that, that's Amble. To Knudsen. In the corner to Jerome. Jerome goes into Amble. Bounces it inside to Wenzel. Wenzel goes up on the left side. Good for a basket. 46 Elk Mound, 38 Colfax. 8:52 left, second half. Johnson across the timeline gets it to Yerington, who ends up bouncing it off his own man, and Colfax gets it. Or Elk Mound gets it, sorry. And now we're going to have a foul called on Elijah. No, let's see. I'm going to wait till it gets over to the table here.
I think 20. It's Nichols.
Orion Nichols, third foul already. So on the free throw line for the Mounders, Brady Amble. Misses the 1+1, rebounded by Blake Johnson. Johnson quickly up the floor, trying to get some help, bounces it into Ensminger. Free throw line right. Ensminger trying to get it out to Johnson, rolls it to Yerington instead. Back to Ensminger, tough man-to-man, or let's see, a 2-3 zone being played by Elk Mound. And that basket good for Logan Schwartz.
Yeah, that's what Colfax has to do, find Logan right now.
46-40, Elk Mound by 6. 8 minutes to go, second half. Jerome to Knutson. And we're going to have a player control foul called on Elk Mound's Cale Knutson. That is only his second foul, but that is the fourth foul of the half for Elk Mound.
Yeah, they're bringing Eli Ralph for Colfax. He's going to try to go with 4 fouls.
Johnson to Fisher. Back to Fisher. Up high. Johnson at the jump circle. Yarrington down in the corner to Ralph. Ball goes out of bounds off the Mounders' Knutson. Vikings having some trouble penetrating that 2-3 zone that the Mounders have on. Ball's going to go all the way into the backcourt to Ensminger, and they'll bring it out again. 7:27 left in the game. A 6-point Elk Mound lead. On the baseline, it's Ralph looking, goes out to Johnson. Back to Ralph. Ralph out to Fisher. Fisher driving up into the big man, and ball's going to Elk Mound. On the missed shot. And they fixed it. Going to Colfax under their own basket at the K and Vikings underneath. Johnson goes into Yarrington. Yarrington shot missed. And ball tipped around back to the Mounders going to Amble. Amble comes out of the backcourt with it. Back out to Logan Jerome. Sam Wenzel along the right side. Back to an open Brady Amble. Puts in a layup on the right side. Elk Mound leads Colfax by 8, 48-40. Coming up on 6.5 minutes left in the game. Fisher on the right side, out to Johnson, down underneath. Ralph, too hard, but Ensminger on the reload puts in the basket. Brings the Vikings to within 6. It's 48-42. And stolen away by Ensminger. Ensminger feeds Fisher. And the Vikings close it up to 4, 48-44. 6 minutes left in the ball game. Brady Amble in the backcourt being guarded by Elijah Ensminger. Fires a pass to Knutson. And then Jerome takes a three-point shot and stretches the lead for Elk Mound back to 7, 51-44. Ensminger, Johnson. Johnson out to Ralph. Ralph to Fisher. Back over to Yarrington. It was tipped off a Mounder. Yarrington pass into Ensminger to set things up. Back to Yarrington, halfway down on the right side into Blake Johnson, and he gets a little shove from Logan Jerome. Johnson's going to throw it in right side of the basket this time. Out to Ensminger. Ensminger to Yarrington near the center jump circle. His pass deflected, picked up by Wenzel. Up the floor for the Mounders, it goes to Russo. Russo drives in, drops in. 5 minutes remaining second half. Elk Mound 53, Colfax 44. And a three-point basket by Aiden Fisher. And a timeout called by Colfax. 4:49 remaining second half. Elk Mound 53, Colfax 47. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Dairy State Bank encourages you to save smarter for your retirement by maximizing possible tax advantages. We offer traditional, Roth, and rollover IRAs with a wide variety of investment options. It's not too late to invest up to $6,500 of possible tax-deferred earnings into an IRA for 2023 tax purposes, or $7,500 if you're 50 or better. Call or stop by for more information. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Join NLWN TV and the Northern Light Webcasting Network tomorrow afternoon as the Viking girls travel to Blair Taylor High School to take on the Wildcats in a non-conference tilt. Live coverage will begin with Viking pregame beginning at 2 p.m. That'll be followed by all the live play-by-play action. That's Colfax girls basketball tomorrow afternoon on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Mounders with the ball. Ambo holding it high. Back out to Russo, and then into Wenzel, who puts in a bunny jumper on the right side. And it is now an 8-point lead for the Mounders, 55-47, 4:18 to go, second half. Ensminger out to Yarrington, down in the corner to Ralph. Back to Johnson to Yarrington. Back to Ralph. Ralph holding high in the corner, going out to Johnson. Bobbles it a bit, but gets it back into Yarrington. Yarrington, a three-point basket, and okay, they cancel the three-pointer, and the foul's going to be away from the ball on Eli Ralph. And that's it for him tonight, his fifth foul.
Yeah, and he ends up with 0 points for the night. So Logan Schwartz will have to come in. Yeah, which Logan's going to have to really be strong on the boards there with Sam Wenzel.
3:57 to go, second half. Elk Mound baseball pass down to the other end, intercepted by Blake Johnson for Colfax. Johnson and Fisher back and forth. Fisher scoops it to Ensminger. Ensminger out to Fisher. And the three-pointer by Blake Johnson is good. 55-50, 3.5 minutes to go, second half. Elk Mound's lead cut to 5. Driving in with a basket off the glass, a layup. Logan Jerome, 57-50, Elk Mound in front of Colfax. 3:16 left to go. Bounce pass to Ensminger. Ensminger falling on the half-court line. Pass gets picked off by Elk Mound. And we have a foul. That's going to be charged to Colfax's Blake Johnson. That's his third. That's the 10th foul. So it's a double bonus now for the Mounders. Logan Jerome on the line for Elk Mound. Free throw one. Almost out, but drops in. 58-50, Elk Mound leading Colfax. 3:04 to go. Second half. Second one goes in as well. It's a 9-point Mounder lead. Ensminger and Johnson back and forth in the backcourt. Bounces it in to Ralph to Fisher. Three-pointer falls short, rebounded by Russo. Looping back, Knutson. Knutson to Wenzel. Back out to Amble. Jerome back in. Russo drives in left side. Goes up over Johnson. Missed. Rebounded by Ensminger. Ensminger back to Johnson. Baseball pass to Fisher. Fisher bounces it in to Schwartz. Schwartz fouled on the way in. He'll get 2 free throws. 2:21 remaining in the second half. 59-50. Elk Mound leading Colfax. Logan Schwartz gets a pair of free throws. First one good. 2:21 left, second half. Elk Mound 59, Colfax 51. That's the 6th team foul for Elk Mound, so the Vikings getting the bonus, and that second free throw doesn't go in. Logan Jerome with a rebound for the Mounders to Brady Amble. And Mason Yarrington fouls him to stop his forward progress. That's his first foul, but it's going to put Brady Amble on the line for 2 free throws. Join us on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 this Thursday, January 11th. First free throw is good, as the Viking boys will take on the Elmwood Plum City Wolves in a Dunn St. Croix Conference matchup. Viking pregame begins at 6:40 with live play-by-play to follow. That's Viking Boys Basketball this Thursday night on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Free throw missed. Aiden Fisher comes up with a loose ball. 60-51 Elk Mound. And a pass knocked down, taken away by Wenzel. Wenzel to Amble, down in the corner to Jerome. Jerome just puts it over the rim. 62-51, an 11-point Mounder lead. Over to Fisher. Fisher will roll it over to Schwartz. He'll make the basket and get a free throw. 1:47 to go in the second half. That's the third foul on Brady Amble. Since he made the basket, he'll only get 1 free throw, but now the Vikings are in the bonus. 1:47 left. Second half, Elk Mound 62, Colfax 53. And that one bangs around and out, no good. Logan Jerome with the rebound, gives it to Amble. And we're going to have a foul charged to Aiden Fisher. That's Fisher's third foul. Blake Johnson playing with 3. Brady Amble on the free throw line for 2. First one, good. Colfax Music Department once again participate in the Dorian Vocal Music Festival running from this Sunday through Wednesday. Brady Amble, second free throw, good. Elk Mound back up by 11 over Colfax, 64-53. And just a case of not paying attention there, Johnson to Ensminger, who didn't get caught up with that pass. 1:36 left in the ball game. Elk Mound with an 11-point lead. Inbounds throw to Knudsen. Knudsen driving in, and Yarrington fouled him on the way in. That's his second foul. So Cale Knudsen gets 2 free throws, makes the first. Mounders by 12, 65-53 over Colfax. Second one doesn't go. Vikings bring it up the floor. Ensminger and Johnson back to Ensminger, top of the key. Going to try to dribble it out of there, and he is fouled. That's going to be charged to Logan Jerome. That is his second foul. So Elijah Ensminger goes to the line for 1+1. 1:23 remaining. First free throw missed. Rebounded by Logan Jerome almost, and it's going to go. And the last timeout by the Colfax Vikings is called. 1:19 to go in the ball game. Elk Mound 65. Colfax 53. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
To get your lawn or garden to perform at attracting what you want, you first need to know what your soil is working with. That's where Midwest Environmental Consultants can help. Their soil testing service can give you a complete rundown on your soil's nutrition and health. They test for nitrogen levels, phosphorus, potash, micronutrients, minerals, pH, and organic matter. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants put you in control of your soil's health. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. That's Midwest Environmental Consultants, serving Western Wisconsin.
Spring is on its way, and the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV are excited to once again be your home for Colfax High School baseball.
Yeah.
Join us as we follow the Colfax Vikings as they battle their way through the Dunn-St. Croix Conference. We'll carry Viking home games on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV.
Mason Yarrington's going to throw the ball in for the Vikings, right side of the Colfax basket. Out on top, they go to Aiden Fisher. Fisher for three. Catches a front iron. No, Yarrington fighting for the ball. But ends up getting a foul, and he is now picked up his third. That's going to send Brady Emmel to the line for two. 65-53. Elk Mound leads Colfax by 12. Viking ladies are at Blair Taylor tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock for Viking pregame, followed by play-by-play. That's on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. Second one good as well. A 14-point lead for the Elk Mound Mounders. Out of the backcourt, Blake Johnson. Johnson doubled up on, fires to Ensminger. Ensminger from the free throw line, good! 1 minute, under 1 minute to go. 12-point lead for Elk Mound. Out along the baseline, Wenzel. Wenzel gets it out to Jerome. Back out to Jerome, still trying to drive toward the basket. Doubled up on, and he traveled. 39 seconds left in the game. Elk Mound 67, Colfax 55. Across the timeline, it's Johnson. Johnson dumps it off to Fisher, over to Yarrington. Yarrington flips it out to Johnson. Three-pointer miss, rebounded by Schwartz. Out to Yarrington. That one catches the back iron, and it's rebounded by the Mounders, and he's fouled by Aiden Fisher. No? 23, that's Blake Johnson. That is his fourth foul. And that sends Logan Jerome to the line for two. 17.4 seconds left in the game. First free throw, good. Elk Mound 68, Colfax 55. Second one good as well. 69-55, 14-point Elk Mound lead. Colfax brings the ball up. Ensminger to Johnson. Johnson to Fisher, down underneath to Schwartz to Ensminger. 6 seconds left. And Johnson, top of the key, three ball missed. Rebounded by Sam Wenzel. And that's it. The Elk Mound Mounders come back to win 69-55 over the Colfax Vikings. We invite you now to stay tuned for our postgame show. That's coming up next here. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 are excited to bring you Colfax High School Boys Basketball throughout the 2023 through 2024 season.
This is what we came in for!
Our next game will be on Thursday, January 11th, when the Vikings will travel to Plum City, Wisconsin to take on the Elmwood Plum City Wolves. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN2 begins with Viking pregame at 6:40 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 on Thursday, January 11th.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
You have been tuned to Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. This copyrighted production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and Colfax High School is intended for the enjoyment of the viewing and listening audience. Any broadcast, rebroadcast, or reproduction in part or in whole in any form without the express written consent of the Northern Light Webcasting Network, LLC, and Colfax High School is prohibited. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Viking Postgame with a look back at today's game.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Time now for Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. And now, Viking Postgame.
The Colfax Vikings falling short to neighborhood rival Elk Mound. The final score tonight, 69-55. And joining us is Colfax coach Mark Knoll. Mark, last night you'd mentioned that the team started out kind of slow. There was quite the opposite tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I loved how the kids came out confident and executing really well. I thought they did a great job of that. And then obviously when you see the ball go through the basket, that helps your confidence, it helps the team's confidence. And we made our shots early, and then we were rebounding early. And, you know, Aiden Fisher got a bunch of rebounds early where he got some easy 2 points around the basket. That was huge.
So what things changed in the second half? You held the lead until about 12 and a half minutes to go in the second half. So
I don't know what the difference was. I'll have to wait till I can really see it. You know what I mean? At the same time, I'm going to say, hopefully the officials don't watch this replay, okay? And I'm not blaming the officials, but there was a big discrepancy in free throws. My guess is probably close to 20 attempts to 4 attempts. Where is it at here? Yeah, I know. That's a lot. So, and now we were found a bunch at the end. So that's going to happen, right? Those we were giving them because we wanted to extend the game. At the same time, I want to give a lot of credit to both my assistant coaches. They did a great job of helping us prepare for this game. Coach Hyatt and Coach Kittleson did an amazing job as well. So kudos to those guys also.
Yeah, it seemed like, you had some guys getting foul trouble in the middle there, too. Just trying to...
That hurt us with Ralph. Ralph is our most physical big guy. Now, Logan stepped up and probably had one of his better games. He had 7 points. That might be his... I think his career high might actually be 8. But Ralph is our most physical guy, and he got caught, with two-hand pushes, stuff like that we can't give up those. And I need him on the court more, because when he was on the court, we were winning. When he was off the court, we were behind. That was the difference.
Yeah. Okay, so some time off here until Thursday. Travel to Elmwood Plum City.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm going to get some sleep this weekend for once.
Okay? There you go. Good idea.
I'm going to get some sleep. Me and my beagle are going to cuddle up and take some serious naps this weekend. and then I'll be energized and ready to go next week. And then we only have one game, so it's nice to have one game. But we'll be preparing for EPC, and that'll be fun to go play them.
You bet. And To carry the momentum from an effort like this has got to be a good thing.
Yeah, that's what we sold the kids on, when we were talking to them there after the game, is that part of that is you got to believe, right? A big part of athletics is that you have to believe, and I told them that if we went to Vegas, no one's betting on Colfax to win at Vegas. Well, who cares what Vegas says?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who cares? So let's go out and play, and the kids played, and they showed what they're capable of, and that's what we said after the game. They're proving it to themselves that when we stick together and we stay on our game plan, great things happen. So that Elk Mound is a very good team. They're 9-1, 10-1 for a reason, But I think we showed well in that we can keep going, where we're headed. And that's what it's about, is where we're headed. It's never about where we are today. It's about where we are as we keep moving forward.
Keep that momentum going.
Yes.
All right. Mark.
Thanks, guys, for being here and doing all this. Love it. Appreciate it, all the work you guys do.
Thanks. Mark Knoll, head coach of the Colfax Vikings, as the Vikings drop a tough one, 69-55 to the Elk Mound Mounders. We will take a quick break and then come back for the tail of the tape. We'll do that in a minute. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN 2, and Viking TV.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV is excited to once again be your host for Colfax High School Girls Basketball throughout the 2023 through 2024 season. Our next game will be on Saturday, January 6th, when the Vikings will travel to Blair Taylor High School to take on the Blair Taylor Wildcats. Live coverage on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and on NLWN TV begins with Viking pregame at 2 p.m. That's live Colfax Viking Girls Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 on Saturday, January 6th.
Soon the weather will change and you'll be able to breathe in the clean fresh air of spring. And you know what comes right along with that. That's right, it will be time for Eau Claire Cavalier Baseball. Follow the Cavaliers all season long right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network audio service and NLWN TV. Be sure to check out our website at www.northernlightwebcastingnetwork.com for our current broadcast schedule.
Welcome back to Colfax. The first half, Colfax outscored Elk Mound 27-25 to lead at halftime. But it was a 44-28 difference in favor of Elk Mound in the second half. The final 69-55. Dan, the individuals who put that all together.
Yeah, here's the scores tonight for Elk Mound. They're led by number 3, Logan Jerome. He had 17 points. And then we had Caden Russo had 10. Brady Amble had 15. We had Kale Knutson with 4. We had Sam Wenza with 13. We had Grant Mueller with 7. And Caleb Besco with 1. For the Colfax Vikings, they're led tonight by number 4, Aiden Fisher. He had 22 points, followed by Elijah Ensminger with 20. We had Blake Johnson with 6, and we had Logan Schwartz with 7. So that's 69-55 Elk Mound.
So it's a good start for the Viking boys tonight, but, Elk Mound coming back at them strong.
Elk Mound weathered the first half storm and stuck with their plan, and we're just looking at free throws in the second half. They had 12 free throws made, which is almost exactly what it would be if Colfax would have tied. So, good effort by Colfax. You just see the patience by Elk Mound. Work the ball inside, get those little jumpers there, and they get the win.
So Colfax now 1-3 in the Dun St. Croix, 4-8 on the season. Elk Mound 4-1 in the conference, and 9-1 overall. We hope that you'll join us for upcoming basketball broadcasts. The girls tomorrow afternoon are at Blair Taylor. Viking pregame begins at 2. Play-by-play after that. That will be on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. And then the boys back in action Thursday. The Vikings take on Elmwood Plum City Viking pregame 6:40 and live play-by-play after that. That's Thursday, the 11th, on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. For executive producer Rick Olson, for camera operator Chris Olson, and for Dan Petra, I'm Jay Fall. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight on NLWN, and we hope you have a great weekend. Good night.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. You can catch Colfax Vikings games by tuning in to any of the Northern Light Webcasting Network outlets. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.